has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
Back on Coast to Coast on a Misery Monday. I'm Ferrall with Carver High. We're in New York City. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I knew tons. I mean, like, I used to, like, live with dudes, like, on my street even. I'd be like, yo, are you going to watch the game? He's like, what game, bro? I was like, it's the Super Bowl. Oh, no, man. I'm riding my hog out to Lake Elsinore to pick up a pound. I don't have any. What? Is that football? Oh, that's cool, man. Hope your team wins. Later, bro. Like, people going to the beach, like, hey, you going to watch the game? Nah, man, I'm surfing trestles. Like, what? No one cares, dude. It's the craziest thing. But in Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Detroit,
right, and
even like Chicago, I've seen a lot of people there they like money more than they like sports.
Right. And look, this is why, like, there's only 4 teams left. I now clearly don't have a horse in the race, so I'm rooting for the team that I think a lot of people, I think that the fair-weather fan, Scotty, who maybe just watches at the end here, just watches at the Super Bowl, when you think about stories, you got one team that's never won anything, period, a city that never wins, a team that never wins, and then you got the Niners who have won a billion times. You got the Chiefs who have been winning all the time. The Ravens have won before, albeit Lamar hasn't won, so that's kind of not on the same level. But I think Detroit's like the people's, kind of pick around here now, or the underdog type pick that people are going to be looking for. If
I think they're going to be disappointed.
Well, that's a whole other story that we're going to get to this week. They opened at 25-1 before the season to win the Super Bowl. They went from 25 to 20 to 9. Now they are 7. They are the long shot. I'm going to give you all the odds in a little bit. The Lions winning would be a bad outcome for the sportsbook, Scotty. We always love notes like that. It would be a bad outcome if the Lions won the Super Bowl.
Well, we know that's not going to happen because sportsbook's not losing money to anyone at the Super Bowl. Right. And you know what they do on those 300, 400 props or whatever it is now, 4,000 props? They just sit out there with a rake and they rake in the money and everyone loses. That's what you do on a Super Bowl. They just take all your money like a rake out in the front yard with the leaves. That's what they're going to do. There's not going to be any. That would be a bad outcome for the sports book. That's not even in their repertoire.
No, it certainly is not. We welcome in all of our radio affiliates for Coast to Coast on a Monday. Sirius XM, channel 159, Sports Byline. Great to have everybody with us. The Lions will play the Niners, Scotty, in Santa Clara on Sunday for the NFC Championship. The Niners got all they could handle from the Green Bay Packers on Saturday night at home. 24-21 was the final. One last chance for Jordan Love and the Packers. Didn't end well on Westwood One Sports.
From their own 36, 1st and 10. They put 1 second on the clock at 52 to go. Shotgun snap to Love. Back to pass. Plants his feet. Now rolling to his right. Love looking. Throws back across his body. Over the middle. Intercepted. It's picked off by the 49ers. It's Greenlaw's second of the night. He runs back to the 40. Reversing field to the right. Chase from behind. Gets away from Jaden Reed. Finally brought down by Reed. And the 49ers are going to win. Love rolling to his right, threw back across his body to the middle of the field, and Greenlaw picked it off.
So, 2 of my best friends are Niner fans, and I hate them too. I hate all 3 of them. My 2 friends that are dear, close friends for life, and the team itself. So, I thought they got lucky. I thought Carlson sucks. His brother's better. I told you Ranieri and I tried to sneak in the brother to put him in a Packer uniform at halftime. No one would have known they're twins. The one with Green Bay, he's awful. And he misses all the time. And then no one wants to say it, but that's the facts. And then the other thing is I thought Love played really well. And I thought that rollout cross body throw 20+ yards over the middle was really the dumbest thing I've seen in maybe I'm thinking about 3.5, 4 weeks. And meanwhile, he knew it. He's like, I should have just thrown it out of bounds. It's on me. Thank God you realized it finally, because everyone else did too when you threw it. I mean, right when he threw it across the body, running and throwing across the body, across the length of the field to the middle of the field into double coverage. And if he didn't catch a Greenlaw's second pick, Fred Warner was going to catch it. I'd already seen him dancing all day for no reason. He was showing off all day for no reason, getting his ass beat. And the other one that was more painful than him fivefold was this Ayuk. What play did that guy not talk Shaq and start a fight the entire game? He just wouldn't stop. I was sitting there watching the game, and I was like, would somebody just knock this guy the F out with a shot to his jaw? He is a trash-talking, painful, and he did nothing. He did nothing, and he's talking smack the whole game. I can't stand them either. Honestly, I can't stand them. That wine and cheese crowd out there, you can stick it in your ear. I hope they lose too, but they're not gonna.
I could actually, and I know this is unbelievable for me to say, I think I could stomach the Chiefs winning again than the Niners winning, Scotty. I don't want the Niners to win at all. I can't stand the Niners.
I can't take either one of them.
Detroit go in there this week and somehow get this done. Here is Kyle Shanahan afterwards. Knows that it wasn't pretty, but the Niners do get it done.
It's not just one area. We just want to play our best football. Do everything we can to play our best, so we feel we can win every game when we do that. We don't feel like we did that today, but we still found a way to win, which I'm very proud of the guys in there. I thought that was as big of a mental challenge and just a character game as any game I've been a part of. I mean, when things aren't going how you want on offense, defense, special teams, the rain, guys slipping a lot, losing Debo early, having to change some things with that, and just some of the mistakes we made to overcome. Like, it was a gut check for everybody, and couldn't be more proud of the people in there and just how they persevered.
Now, I thought they were going to go down, kick a field goal, tie it, and get the over. It would have gone over at 48. It would have gone over the 50 and a hook, and he blew it with that horrible pass. But here the Niners are. Now, I already said it to you once, you already know what happens. The Niners already have 5 Lombardis. They play in Super Bowls all the time. Detroit has no idea what's about to hit them upside the head. The Niners go to Super Bowls, and the Chiefs go to Super Bowls. Now, it's really up to Lamar Jackson to stop that from happening. It's all about him stopping that from happening, because I love Detroit. I want Detroit. There's no way it's not the Niners, right? It's just not. They go to every Super Bowl. My entire life, I've been watching them in Super Bowls, and
we hate them.
Honestly, what's going to happen. They're going to the Super Bowl.
Let's.
And they play crappy.
You're probably right. It's Monday. I'm going to spend my week trying to convince myself that the Lions can win this game on Sunday. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to convince myself. I know this, though. Here's something that is true, and I'm not saying they're going to lose the game because of it. The Niner offense is a lot different when Debo's not out there. A lot different when Debo Samuel's not out there. So if he's not playing, that's going to make a little bit of a difference. That'll make a difference.
That guy's always got something wrong with him. I'm not even factoring him into this.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams. And in the first half, I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game. And I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I can see why people would bet Boston at minus about 45, but I think the two of them are so exciting and so talented and so awesome. I went with and made the bet of the over 6.5.
There are issues with football character. Always doing the right thing, being in the right spot, being highly coachable. Why do they continue to fail in the big moments? It's football character, Ferrall. It's not a talent issue. That has nothing to do with it.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The early line
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Ferrall
backup quarterbacks.
Coast to Coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time decisions.
You have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live. Prime time.
Yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was
Late
good betting.
Night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid
We did.
information. Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, so I did the Texans-Ravens game, Carver High, and it was actually after, they ran a punt back, and Sims scored on that great punt return to the hizzy, and then they made it, 10-all at the half, and you're sitting there thinking, wow, this is going to be a great game, and then they never scored again, and I think the Ravens put 24 zip on them in the second half.
That is exactly what they did. 34-10 was the final. A big halftime speech from Lamar Jackson rallied the troops, Scotty. We'll hear from him about that in a moment. But first, why not? I mean, we hit one of the tutties. We had to play one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Lamar Jackson to Isaiah Likely in the second half on Westwood One Sports.
2nd and 2. Jackson out of the gun. Runs the pocket to his right. Throws toward the end zone. Leaping grab. Isaiah Likely. Over the top of Derek Stingley. Touchdown. Ravens 15 yards from Lamar Jackson. It's 23-10 Baltimore.
I mean, good catch upstairs. He climbed the ladder a little bit, got his hands up there above everybody else, basketball style at the rim, and caught the tutty. And we had it on Friday, and we had it on Saturday. Joe Ranieri and I were all over him to score.
Tremendous job. Lamar was great. He ran for 2 touchdowns as well, Scotty. By far his best playoff game ever. So what did he say to the guys at halftime that got everybody so riled up? Here he is.
It'd be inappropriate if I said it right here. It would, but yeah, we wasn't really doing anything, to that defense. They was playing great, and that offense was playing great as well. But we wasn't doing our job, with our unit. In second half, we went to put points on the board, start moving the ball, moving the chains, and start looking like ourselves.
This guy is such a freak. I mean, faster than Josh Allen. And Josh Allen's big, 6'5", 240, running the ball, lumbering. This guy's just breaking ankles fast, smart, cunning. He's a creeper. He'll creep up on you. You don't know where it's, coming, and then you look and he's gone, and he goes around the end. He can do it up the middle. He can throw it. He's just lethal. And watching him in the second half run out of that tunnel with another tutty What doesn't he do in a football game? This guy is absolute magic.
He certainly is, and he'll have an opportunity next week to go to his first Super Bowl, Scotty. Chiefs and the Ravens. I'll give you the numbers in a moment. Here is the full tree. You're down to the last four in the playoffs. Chiefs and Ravens, Lions and the 49ers. You know the schedule. You said it earlier. Sunday, the first game will be the Chief and Raven game. That will be at 3 o'clock East. The Lions and the 49ers will then finish it off at 6:30 East out in Santa Clara at Stonewashed Denim Jeans.
I'm doing with Morency the Kansas City-Baltimore game at the bank in the Charm City. Now, I don't know how many times I've said this on Coast to Coast and even in-game live is that, like, I really, how many times have we talked about Baltimore and San Francisco in a rematch of Christmas in the Super Bowl? But and that's what I've always thought was going to happen. And then everybody said, oh, the Niners are going to win the rematch. They got their ass beat by Baltimore. And I don't see anything changing. I don't put them in the same class. I put Lamar Jackson up here. I put Purdy down by my chin. I don't deny the kid's got talent, but he's no Lamar Jackson. And it showed on Christmas. So I still think, and that's what I guess I prefer, but I still think it's going to be Mahomes and the Niners because it always is. God. It just always is.
That would be
it's
the
what you
worst
don't
outcome.
want that you're going to get.
Both of them.
What you don't want is what you're going to get.
Can't have both of them. So
they're both going to be there.
One of them's got to lose this week. We can't have them both there. I don't care what it is. You give me Ravens, Niners. You give me Lions, Chiefs. You give me I can't have Chiefs, Niners. That is a miserable 2 weeks, Scotty, leading up to the Super Bowl. I can't have that. I hope it's Lions, Ravens. I hope they both lose. But like you said, I highly doubt that that's going to be the case. The Ravens are 3.5-point favorites over the Chiefs right now. 44.5 is the total in this one. -185 money line for the Ravens, +150 money line for the Chiefs. So we've got the hook there on the 3, Scotty, early in the week on a Monday.
This is gonna turn into the Super Bowl with Taylor Swift. And she's going to be there, and it's going to be, CBS starts at 11:30 in the morning, the broadcast. They'll spend at least 2.5 hours on her, and then another hour on the Kelsey brothers and their mom. And then they're going to spend 90 minutes straight on Mahomes and his crazy wife. And then they're going to spend an hour on Andy Reid and all of his endorsements and his big mustache. And then they're going to spend, an hour on the Niners. I mean, they knob the Chiefs like no other. And CBS, they send Tony Romo to do it. He's like a porn star. They're going to send him to the Super Bowl to love Mahomes some more and the Chiefs. And then no matter what, it's coming. They're already doing commercials. They're already doing, I bet they're shooting right now with Mahomes doing a commercial for the Super Bowl. They're making it right now.
Did we need the brother, too, last night, jumping out of the luxury suite with the shirt off, yelling at? Do we need that, too? We don't see these guys enough. We got to see the guy now in Buffalo jumping out after his team got their ass beat earlier in the week. We got to see him out in Buffalo, ripping the shirt off, jumping down to the fans. He was drinking a Labatt Blue, though, so at least he had that going for him, Scotty, up there in Buffalo. He got that Labatt Blue right there. The late game will be the Lions and the Niners. -7 for the Niners, and a fat 51 now for the total in this game. Big total here for the NFC title game.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think it looks like automatic over when you look at these two offenses, but I don't even want to go there. All I know is the Niners played bad, and everybody thinks the Lions are going to go out there and beat them. Everybody thinks it's going to be this great game. Look, I laid 6 with the Lions at home yesterday. They had no business covering that. But when they went up 31-17, I thought for sure Mayfield was going to make it 31-all. I thought that game was not going to end. But as far as this one, they look bad. Everybody's going to bet against them and bet on the Lions. They're going to get burned.
And I know everybody was how about Bowles going for the 2 there, Scotty, if he would have got that to make it a 6-point game.
And that was a pass interference. That was pass interference.
On Evans in the corner.
Twice.
He absolutely got it.
He might get twice.
Out there. He got. This is for to win the whole thing in Vegas. 4 teams left. The Niners are the favorites at plus 145. Ravens are 2-1. Chiefs plus 350. 7-1 for the Lions. The distinct long shot.
I will puke all over myself if Mahomes beats Purdy and the Niners in the Super Bowl. I will literally, and don't think that people aren't betting that. Plus 350 right now. They're pounding it because he's better. I think he's better than all of them. Like, as I think Lamar is the MVP. He's the most exciting player. But, like, they were vanilla in that first half, right? 10 points. When do you see, really, Patrick Mahomes in a big game ever held to 7 or 10 points in any quarter? I mean, he's just going to go right down the field and score every time he touches the ball. And I think they'll jump out on them. And if they beat them, same thing in the Super Bowl. There's no way you're telling me that kid is beating Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. I mean, it'll be his 3rd ring as sure as it's like watching Joe Montana, except he's going to be playing for the Chiefs. When he did play for the Chiefs, I'm telling you, that guy ain't losing to that little kid with all of his crappy throws. I don't care what you say. That Niner team looked crappy against Green Bay.
He had a ton of awful throws in that game. A bunch. And how about the one that hit the guy right? He hit the guy right in the numbers
Savage,
in the first half. And Savage, how did he not catch that ball? He had a lot of bad throws. He got him down the field at the end, though. But he had a lot of bad throws.
He ain't beating Patrick Mahomes.
Thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams, and in the first half I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game, and I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I can see why people would bet Boston at minus about 45. But I think the two of them are so exciting and so talented and so awesome. I went with and made the bet of the over 6.5.
There are issues with football character. Always doing the right thing, being in the right spot, being highly coachable. Why do they continue to fail in the big moments? It's football character, Ferrall. It's not a talent issue. That has nothing to do with it.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I'm not going to lie. I'm a Knicks fan. I feel bad for Obi Toppin. I mean, Obi Toppin was backing up Julius Randle, and then he got his opportunity. Indiana was playing great. Didn't play D, brought him off the bench. And now they got Pascal Siakam, and now he's going into a free agent year. So Obi may be looking for a new home. But I do like that fast break if it's Halliburton with Obi and Siakam.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline, and I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The Early Line
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks.
Ferrall Coast to Coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live. Just prime time.
yard for a grand slam.
In the bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was
Late
good betting.
Night.
We waited for the 1.5. We got paid
We did.
information. Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. The brighter the lights, the bigger the stakes. Hunt or be hunted. Know your prey. This is a whole new jungle. This is The Lion's Share. Brought to you by BetMGM.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, so the big game 58's got everybody at BetMGM all fired up. They're like handing out money to people like on the side. They're not even eating meals. They're just like no breakfast, lunch, dinner. They're just all they do is hand out money to people all day long. You bet $5, you get 158 instantly with the bonus code SG158. Download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android. Visit BetMGM.com. Sign up, deposit at least $5 into your new account. Make a $5 bet, standard odds. And once you place a bet, you're going to get $158 in bonus bets, regardless of the outcome of your wager. And you will be styling. You're going to love it. The big game 58. Bet 5, get 158 at BetMGM. Get the app now. Davis Lee Roth-Matic joins us every day on C2C. And before I get to your picks tonight, I want to start with, because we know you're like having a great day, watching Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes beat the Bills. And I got to say, like, easily, like, he just scored at will. He did whatever he wanted. If Hardman doesn't fumble, they would have been up 10. It would have never even been in doubt. What do you think? I just said like 5 minutes ago, plus 350 for them to win the Super Bowl. If he gets to the Super Bowl against anybody, he's winning. If he gets there against Purdy, he's winning. And you know, like, I know that Lamar's my guy, but I'm not going to be surprised he beats him too. I mean, he owns Allen. What was it like for you to watch your Chiefs do it again, a 6th consecutive AFC title game?
I mean, I'm going to be honest, like, it was pretty nervous. It was pretty anxious in the household. Now, the thing, I don't know how popular this is or not. I actually love when the other team chooses to start with the ball, and I know that Mahomes is going to get the ball back at the end or at the start of the second half. It's just like, there's something very comforting about knowing, all right, yeah, sure, they'll go down and score whatever, but Mahomes is going to put us 7 on the board. Like, just automatically start us with 7 points at the beginning of the third quarter. The Hardman stuff, I mean, look, this is how I view the Hardman thing. You can't get mad at McCole Hardman. You don't get mad at a toddler when a toddler breaks a wine glass because the adult left the wine glass out, right? It's Andy Reid's fault. Andy Reid sniffing his own farts, you know, handing the ball off to McCole Hardman on the goal line. It's no good. Obviously, to me, I think Mahomes is the greatest quarterback. I mean, not yet. He's got a lot of ball left to play.
He's close.
I think he's the best. My opinion would be is that he is the best. That's not the same thing as greatest. You know, let's give him 10, 15 more years of playing ball, and we'll see where he ends up. And honestly, you know, I don't feel bad. I feel a little bad for Josh Allen. Josh Allen's only sin was that he happened to play and be a professional athlete at the same time as Mahomes. Kind of like, you know, a lot of these guys who got vanquished by Brady, right? I mean, it was never that Peyton Manning sucked or that Ben Roethlisberger sucked or that Drew Brees sucked or whatever. It was never that. It was just they played against the GOAT.
Rivers could never win it. There were so many guys that couldn't win it because of him. And now, but you have to admit, like, he's so good that I hate him. Like, he's so good that, like, when he drops back to pass, I don't think I can remember the last time I saw someone hit him. I mean, the only thing I've seen is him get calls for roughing. You touch him, you get 15 yards. He's the commodity of the NFL. And then last night, they didn't get within a city block of his ass. I mean, it was like I thought I was at the Sam the Butcher. The guy was carving them up. Like, he didn't even have to have a good game. It was so easy for him to carve them up. I mean, it was like I thought I was literally watching a guy that was 50 for 50. Like, I mean, I was like, when he threw one incomplete, I almost fell over.
I mean, that is, I would say, he's got a lot of skills, right? I mean, like, no doubt about it. But probably the thing he does best compared to anyone else who's ever played the sport of football is he avoids sacks. I mean, it's to the point that you are surprised when the pocket breaks down and,
right.
His left and his right tackle fell on their butts and the defensive ends are collapsing in on him. You are actually more surprised when he effectively gets wrangled down than that he completes, some crazy 17-yard pass to Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I mean, that's how on fire he was last night. He was playing so good that he was putting passes that even Marquez Valdes-Scantling could catch. I mean, that is about as big of an accomplishment as you can have as a quarterback. That was, I think, to me, that was probably the best game he has played since the 2020 AFC Conference Championship game, I think, probably. I mean, he was so freaking good last night.
Have you ever seen anything like how he beats this team in playoff games? Like, it's almost like it's a foregone conclusion. I said to Carver and Morency earlier, like, they're never going to beat them. It's just, I had a team in basketball that I played. Mafia knows it's true. I had a team that played us 30 times in the playoffs. Never beat us once, ever. We beat them every time we played them. We beat them down 20 at the half, still beat them. We never lost them once. And I can tell you, it's the same as Rodgers against San Francisco. It absolutely drives them crazy. Like, their entire life, you can't even eat a bowl of soup without thinking about the Chiefs if you're the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen needs a shrink. I don't care how good he is. He needs a shrink because this guy is literally penthouse living in his skull.
I mean, yeah, like let's just be real about it. The collectively, the Kansas City Chiefs own the Bills. And if you have not mentioned this to Carver yet on the show today, drop this one to him. Just if you really wanted to dig the knife in, remind him that the pick that the Kansas City Chiefs used to select Patrick Mahomes was originally the Buffalo Bills pick. They traded it away so the Kansas City Chiefs could draft Patrick Mahomes. Pretty so wild
it's
stuff.
It's the Bills' fault, all of this. And then God has turned on them to suffer the repercussions of it.
It's not great.
God.
It's not great. I mean, they brought it on themselves. It's as classic as it gets. It's a tale as old as time.
Hold on. Mavi, is he still drinking the whiskey on the set? Just have him do it in the bathroom. Are we on still? We are? Okay. I have to say, last but not least, how do you think it'll go against Baltimore? Same kind of thing? He's gonna be a problem for them too. You know it.
He's going to be a problem. The Ravens are a better team, though, like 1 through 53. I think that has a chance to be the best game of the NFL season so far. I'm really looking forward to it.
I don't know. The Bills were, I think, as hot as maybe the hottest team in the league. And I won't deny what Detroit's doing is phenomenal, but Buffalo's been doing it for like 7-8 weeks of winning every single week. They were all playoff games to go from like literally the 11 to the 2 seed. And then to be that hot and to end it again at the same hands of Mahomes is beyond reproach. You can't even, it's total devastation. All right, let's take a look at your snags for tonight. Look at you getting heavily involved in the NBA. Let's start with the Cavs. They've been a good pick lately. They're in the Big O against Banchero and the Magic. And Cleveland's been winning.
Yeah. They've been absolutely smashing. The Magic are missing some of their wings. They actually are maybe going to be getting Markelle Fultz back here pretty soon. But really, the Donovan Mitchell experience, no Mobley, and then Garland has been banged up too. I mean, it's kind of wild, but it's actually he's been phenomenal. And there's kind of been some rumors that he might be traded or teams might be trading for him. I mean, I think the Cavs are probably just going to keep riding it, right? I mean, he really has been that good. So we're riding them on the road at Orlando.
So the new look Raptors are home tonight. Are you riding them against Memphis north of the border?
Yeah, I am riding the Raptors. It's kind of one of these very funny things. The Raptors made this trade, actually 2 consecutive trades that were, quote unquote tanking. They absolutely smoked the Heat. Now they did get smoked against the Knicks the other night. That was the revenge game, I suppose, for OG Anunoby. But mostly, I gotta say, I like these trades that they made, and I think that turning it all over to Quickly. I'm just a big Emmanuel Quickly guy. I think the Raptors are going to smoke bad teams for the rest of the year.
Remember they went to L.A., I think, and covered against the Clippers and the Lakers, and then now they go home. They lost to the Knicks, but I think tonight's a little bit easier. We'll see if they can hang. Same kind of record, though, as Memphis. Both of them, are around that same neighborhood, 15-16. Boston's in Dallas. By the way, I know you thought it was at one point 3.5. It's down to 2.5 now with the Celtics. You see it right there.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Celtics are the best team in the NBA. I don't care who's resting. I don't care who's out. I don't care who's in. As long as 4 of their 6 top guys are in, I'm pretty much betting them every time they are less than 5 points against anyone. This is my favorite bet of the night. Boston -2.5 against the Mavs.
So because the Mavs had 4 days off, I'm going to give them a shot tonight. Got them at 3.5. I had the Suns last night -5. They win by 7 in that crazy game, and they couldn't stop the big 3. Tonight they're taking on the Bulls, and you see the number there. You're going with a total here.
Yeah, they can't get any stops because they've been playing super small, which I think is fine. But they can't. They're scoring buckets. The whole thesis: Beal, Durant, Booker had 52 the other night. They are scoring in droves. So we're going to take the under here in Suns Bulls.
Yeah, Carver High doesn't like you anymore. This guy roots for the Chiefs, Oklahoma Sooners. Giannis.
The Lion's Share, presented by BetMGM.
I really thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams, and in the first half, I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game. And I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline. And I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I can see why people would bet Boston at -45, but I think the two of them are so exciting and so talented and so awesome. I went with and made the bet of the over 6.5.
There are issues with football character. Always doing the right thing, being in the right spot, being highly coachable. Why do they continue to fail in the big moments? It's football character, Ferrall. It's not a talent issue. That has nothing to do with it.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
They were best friends. Siakam's best friend on the team was Chris Boucher. Chris Boucher's best friend on the team was Pascal Siakam. They're not American, right? So there's different cliques in the NBA, and they were very, very tight. So Chris Boucher, I got rattled seeing Chris Boucher and thinking about the memories. But Raptors responded.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
One that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game. I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This was our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, Jennifer Hammond is well known in Detroit. She's been on TV. All the fans know her. She's had her bones in the Motor City. She's on Fox 2. She does the TV pre for the Lions, the radio post for the Lions. So she does it all in the Motor City. It's good to have you on today, Jen. And I have to tell you, I've been there a million times. I've been to a million games there. I've been to the Super Bowl there with my Steelers. I've been to the Penguins and Red Wings rivalries in 08 and 09. I've been to Metallica over on the aisle. I have been to Tigers games. I've been to Michigan games, but nothing can compare. I guess the Red Wings, they love hockey in Detroit. You win that many Stanley Cups, and the run they had with Scotty, I guess they know what it's like to win, and the Pistons, but this has got them really horny.
It got them really freaking horny, I got to tell you that. Thank you for having me. So it's interesting. I came home from the game last week after the win over the Rams, and the first thing my son said to me was, that looked bleeping nuts. And I said it was, and he said, best event ever in Detroit for you? Because I've covered them, I've been here since 94 on the air. And I said, maybe when Yzerman hoisted the cup for the first time in 97, that compares and was comparable to them beating the Rams and Stafford for that first playoff win. But my God, it is close. And this week they blew the lid off it again. I mean, Detroit is just on fire. And it's so cool to see for these fans because, as you've mentioned, they have been starving for this for decades. I mean, we have seen the darkest of times here in Detroit, and to go from a team that not only was 0-16 back in the Marinelli days, which we like to forget, but just 3 years ago when Dan Campbell was hired, this team really was a bottom feeder, and to see what they've been able to do in just 3 short years is really incredible.
I mean, I have seen them lose my entire life. I'm 58.
Yeah.
I've had, I was on the air there on the ticket for a long time on CBS radio. So I've been on, I think I can't remember the FM stations that I've been on in Detroit over the years, but I just know that they have always sucked. Okay. They have not only lost, but they have sucked. I mean, I used to go on tirades. They shouldn't be allowed to play on Thanksgiving. I mean, nobody cares about the Lions. And then people call me and go, we won the titles in the 50s, NFL title. No one cares about that either. Super Bowl era or nothing, no conversation. But now to see them win I mean, dangerously against the Rams, should have won bigger, and they win by 1, and everybody was like, woo, got through that. And then yesterday was no joke. I was doing the game, and I thought it was no joke. When they were up 2 scores, I thought they got soft. And Mayfield cut through him like butter when he threw to Evans at the 1. And didn't you think they were going to go down and try to tie it and go to overtime?
I absolutely did. But there was something about this team that it doesn't have that. You're familiar, obviously, with the SOL, the same old Lions feel. This team is resilient. And I knew that they've got dogs on defense. They're not the greatest. I mean, they're leaky at times. They're going to give up big chunk plays. They're going to give up explosive plays to really good receivers. But part of their charm is there's always a guy that finds a way. Aiden Hutchinson against the Bears midseason, the strip sack. Yesterday, Derek Barnes with the interception. There's just
Huge.
always a guy, even in Green Bay, they did it too. On the road in Kansas City, they did it. So there's just something about this defense and a belief that this team has inside that locker room. And it starts with MCDC, obviously. We got to give full credit to him, Brad Holmes. And going back to your point about the dog days here when people thought, that it was total futility and they shouldn't even have the Thanksgiving game. There is something to be said now for the competency within this organization that starts at the top. Sheila Ford-Hamp came in. She took over. She made sure that she got things right from the bottom, from the basement all the way to the attic. She got things finished off. She got some insulation put in. She hired the right people around her. And you know the story. Everybody was kind of making fun of Dan Campbell when he was first hired here. But that is not the tenor anymore in this city.
Oh, well, first of all, she's done a hell of a job, and so is he. I think fans, we play him all the time on the show. We love him. We think he's a character. I like his
great.
stones. I think the guy's got, massive onions going for it on fourth down. I thought the play calling was a little edgy for me on that second and third down. Why he passed. Those passes were terrible. I thought on fourth down and one, they got it in, Reynolds. I thought they could have banged it in with Montgomery on second and third down, too. He makes me nervous, but I think he's great. Let me say this. Jennifer Hammond with us from Fox in Detroit. I think Gibbs is the best player on the football team. I know he's the fastest, and you know what? He's a freak, and he's why you won the game. He's why you won the game.
He's so talented. It's incredible. I actually sent a tweet out yesterday, and it got more traction than anything I said all day. It's that Brad Holmes knew that Jock Gibbs was a special player. Dan Campbell saw it, and now the whole city of Detroit believes it. And it really is something that has taken time at the beginning of the season, other than the Jamison Williams questions, like how is this guy going to fit in? And is he going to be able to do anything? And is he a bust? And how is Jared Goff ever going to trust him? The Gibbs questions were just haunting every reporter in town. They wanted to know when we were going to, and fans really, all of it starts with the fans kind of getting their panties in a bunch, but everybody was really crazed about how is Gibbs going to fit in and why did they, sacrifice that pick? Why did they do it? And now it is paying off, and he is he's a dynamic player. And I really do want to see J-Mo and Ja in a foot race, because I do think that J-Mo would beat him, but not by much. Those guys, they're lightning in a bottle. I mean, it is incredible. Detroit, in all the years that Matthew Stafford was here, for 12 years, he never had a running back. And we've seen Gibbs do things that maybe mirror a little bit of Barry Sanders, dare I say it. A lot of people, he is a sexy player. And not only that, he's got toughness. He'll take on a linebacker. Physical. He'll throw a block. He'll run through the middle. He doesn't care. He just wants it.
He's violent, and it's surprising because I never thought he was violent at Bama. I just thought he was fast. And I got to tell you, I don't care what anybody says about Jamison, because one way or the other, if they haven't figured out, which I think they have, that they have to capitalize on his speed too. Get him the ball. I say both of them are Ferraris, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Yeah. Both of them on a dime can start up and pull a guy's onions. He will tear a groin. I thought when he was running for that TD 31 yards, watching the defender get smoked like a doobie, and it was all that burst ability. And I said, I was on the air doing a game, I go, why don't they just give him the effing ball on every single play? Because Goff started giving him the ball, and they couldn't stop him, and then they won.
And it's incredible how they did change the game plan. Like they used the pass to set up the run yesterday, and with good reason. That Tampa front is really very strong. And I don't want this to go unsaid. Frank Ragnow deserves, the tough man award for what he did yesterday. We thought that was a really bad knee injury, and he was not about to let his team down. He even said in the postgame press conference, I signed it. They trusted in me to give me an extension. There's nowhere else I need to be than on the field with my players. And I just played through the pain. This guy has gone through so many things with a toe and a foot and all this different stuff. So he battled against Vita Vea, who is just a house. I mean, he absolutely, he's a freak. He stood so tall yesterday. And that's the whole reason that this run game has had the success it has this year. That offensive line, I mean, if there was a trophy in the NFL for an offensive line, they should get it because they have just been studs up front. And that's where this whole team begins and ends is they can outscore guys. They're going to give up some big plays. They're going to give up some points, but they'll go toe to toe with anybody in the scoring.
Now they have to go to see the Niners in Santa Clara, and they didn't play well. You saw it. They got it done. I think Green Bay gifted it to them. Carlson misses, and then the Love crossbody pick to Greenlaw. I did not think their offense looked good at all. Ayuk did nothing but talk smack the whole game. But that worries me if I'm Detroit because they have not shown what they're capable of. They've had a couple of bad games. Christmas against Baltimore. They barely got through this game. I have a feeling they're going to be ready for the Lions because they didn't look ready, frankly, for Green Bay.
Yeah, certainly there was a little bit of rust in the first half, I would say, for them with the bye. You always question that if it's rust versus rest. But for Purdy, I think he really started cooking in the second half. They've got a lot of weapons. I saw today Debo is 50-50, so we'll see if he goes. Certainly that's an entirely different offense with him in the lineup and on the field. I think they average something like 27.6, 28 points per game. So they're a high-scoring team. But the Lions, like I said, they can go toe-to-toe with anybody with the weapons. Certainly San Francisco's going to be on alert because they had that scare last week. But there's a lot of people in Detroit, Scott, saying they are glad that they're getting the Niners instead of the Packers. The way the Packers rolled out of Dallas and then rolled through the first three quarters of that game in San Francisco, folks thought here, I don't know, maybe we don't want the Packers. Home games, obviously, you always want. NFC Championship game here would have been epic. But I do think that the Lions match up well with the 49ers. And I do think that they can give Brock Purdy some problems. The pass rush has been really stout. And even when they're not getting home and getting sacks, getting the numbers, they can still impact the game. They can get guys some wobbly balls in the back end to try to pick off and turnovers and just put them in third and long as much as possible. I really believe in this Lions team's chances to go to the Super Bowl. And I never thought I would be saying that. I picked them to go 10-7 before the season started, and I thought that was a good record.
Well, and they love Goff, and they're really exciting. And I think it's going to be incredible to see if they can actually pull it off. Now they get really served up a difficult task going on the road out west to face that team. It's different than playing at Ford Field, but when you don't play a playoff game for 30 years or win one and you get two in a row at home and win both of them, that's all that matters. I just want to say one last thing to you. I can't help but go back to what it meant to me. Like, I used to do play-by-play in the NHL for a year, and I called a game at the Joe, and then I remember, I'll never forget, like, I used to say, Illich owns this team, and I'm down there eating free pizza after the game. And then as a Penguin fan, I will never forget losing to them in 2008 and being devastated, and then seeing Marc-Andre Fleury stop that shot on the goal side late in Game 7 in Detroit. Is one of the greatest memories of my life, watching him make that flop save and the Penguins stun them. And they never lost at home a Game 7 ever. Detroit's some of my fondest sports memories of my life.
Yeah, and the fans are amazing. You know that. And I'll tell you one thing about that series is it was Game 5, and I think the Wings had a chance to close them out, and they didn't. And we were all ticked off that we had to get in our cars and drive back to Pittsburgh for Game 6. And then they lost that and came home and lost. So those were some epic battles between the Penguins and the Wings. But I'll tell you something, these Wings fans or these Lions fans are the same type of personality as those Wings fans. A lot of them cross over. A lot of them got sauced yesterday at Ford Field and then just waddled down the street to Little Caesars Arena. And then they saw the Wings beat the Lightning. So it was a bad day for Tampa Bay.
I bet on that too. I had the Detroit Daily Double going. I bet the Lions -6. And I had the Red Wings even money to beat Tampa, and they both won. It was great. Listen, Jennifer, you're great. Jennifer Hammond from Fox 2 in Detroit. Good luck this week in San Francisco. It's fun having you on the show. We'll do it again.
I would love it. Thanks so much.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I really thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams. And in the first half, I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game. And I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I can see why people would bet Boston at minus about 45, but I think the two of them are so exciting and so talented and so awesome. I went with and made the bet of the over 6.5.
There are issues with football character. Always doing the right thing, being in the right spot, being highly coachable. Why do they continue to fail in the big moments? It's football character, Ferrall. It's not a talent issue. That has nothing to do with it.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
Well, look at the Heisman Trophy.
The early line.
And what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Ferrall
backup quarterbacks.
Coast to Coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
In the bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was
Late
better.
Night.
We waited for the 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on.
There's no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Everybody knows crack addict love candy. Anyway, it's time for Today in Carver High history.
It certainly is. Why don't we start today in 1960? Double P, Paul Pender beat Sugar Ray Robinson for the middleweight championship. 1968, the NBA announces an expansion franchise to be awarded to Milwaukee. That would become the Bucks, and Phoenix, which of course would become the Suns. 73, George Foreman TKA's Joe Frazier in 2 rounds to win the WBC and WBA heavyweight titles. Frazier was knocked down 3 times in both rounds. 1981, Bum Phillips becomes the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. How'd that go? 1984, Raiders beat the Redskins 38-9 in Super Bowl 18. Marcus Allen was the Super Bowl MVP. 88, Mike Tyson beats former title holder Larry Holmes by TKO in the 4th round to retain his undisputed championship. 1989, the Niners beat the Bengals 20-16. Super Bowl 23 at Joe Robbie in Miami. The Is That John Candy game. Montana takes him down the field.
There was hot news. Everyone in town in Cincinnati thought he was going to be fired, except Paul Brown, the man who made the decision, the Hall of Fame vice president. He kept him for his final year of the contract, and Weiss has his team 39 seconds from a Super Bowl win. But Bill Walsh has his team 10 yards from a victory himself. Weiss has just set a Super Bowl record with 12 catches. He's in motion. Montana, touchdown, John Taylor.
Man, that is just unbelievable. We're going to be seeing that a lot coming up in the next few weeks.
I hope not. 1990, Will Clark, the reigning NL MVP, signs a 4-year, $15 million contract with the Giants. 898, Ricky Henderson joins the A's for the 4th time. 2006, Kobe drops 81 against the Raptors. It's the second highest game in NBA history. Only Will Chamberlain's 100-point had more. Kobe with the 81 tonight, Scotty, back in 2006.
And I still think Will Clark had the best baseball swing I ever saw.
Yes, everyone loved that swing.